I don't remember the dates exactly. I know that it was around St. Patrick's Day that week. Because cause I remember that. And I remember the next morning, uh, after that, after St. Patrick's Day, waking up, we were in this hotel, and I got up to go outside to smoke, and I was walking down the hall. I heard this couple really loudly fucking, and like, I know it's weird and gross, but I did stop and listen for a minute because I was like, God damn, wouldn't that be nice? And then, I was kind of jealous of them because they were fucking homeless, and like, at least but that's probably, if you think about their situation, they're in a hotel there and probably not ideal either, but whatever. Anyway, so, after we had to leave the hotel, um, there was, it was a weekend. I see the days, all the days, when you're just going through this and it's just like survival day to day to day and getting kicked out of the hotels every single day and having to have your baby and figure out what to do. It's so horrible and hard and scary. And I didn't know the area because my mom, when the car broke down, she did that on purpose. Because she thought it would make me have to come back, but I wasn't coming back to her because she did shit like this. And she'd, she'd sold the title to the shop, and I knew that we were fucked and I didn't know what to do. And luckily, when we still had the car and I was door dashing, I'd stopped at this Wawa, and the baby was asleep, and this guy that pumped her gas told me about being homeless, and he said and it was real hard, but he called this number, and he'd given me that number or whatever that night, and he got her some food and some oil for the car before it broke down or whatever. So back to so it was really, really cold, and I had all of my bags, all of our belongings, all of our clothes in garbage bags. And I'm trying to carry all of it and trying to keep my kid calm, but I didn't know what to do because I was so scared myself. And I was panicking, and it was so cold. The wind was blowing so hard, and it was blistering our cheeks. And I didn't have money. I had a little of my garlics and french fries and a Coke. There was a McDonald's that we had to walk past. I didn't know what to do. And at that time, a friend from back home that I'd known since we were kids, he hit me up. And he told me that he knew this guy here. And that he'd give him a call and see if he'd help us. And so we hung out at a bus stop for like a day. And then went and sat at this Wendy's. And we sat at the Wendy's. But when you're sitting there with all your belongings, and people get suspicious, and you're trying to do everything you can to keep both of you together. That's it. And you can't stay in places long when you're homeless. So um, we sat at this Wendy's for most of the day, and they came and talked to us, and they were actually really, really nice. And they gave us some food and some money. And this guy, um, he didn't speak English, but they took us back to his house, and he had like a bedroom downstairs, and he let us sleep there for the night. He let me wash clothes and fed us, and then the next morning really or at least I had a couple bucks, so I got some coffee and stuff, and then we went and we sat back at this Wendy's all day. And finally my friend got a hold of this guy, and I talked to him. He seemed really nice over the phone. So, waited there. He was about an hour away. So we waited there. And he came and got us. And we got in the car with him. And I think it was 2 or 3 days that we were with him. And it turns out he was not as nice as my friend had said. And I trusted my friend. But it turns out my friend didn't really know this guy that well either. And, I think he was on drugs. I'm not sure. But, first he told me that we would be able to go spend the night at his parents' house because he lived with his parents. But it turns out that his parents didn't know, or I don't know, but we ended up sleeping in his car in his parents' driveway, and then some in parking lots. And then he had to go to work. But he was, like, jumpy and sketchy, and he kept dropping us off places, and he wouldn't really let me eat, but he would like get things for my kid, which is fine. But whenever I would try to sleep while he was in the car, he would turn the radio up real loud and mess with the radio, or breathe real. It was like my dad almost, but scarier because I didn't know what this guy was gonna do. And when I started noticing that he was real sketchy, and then we had to get away from him, but I didn't know where I was, and I didn't want to get dropped off anywhere, So I kept texting my mom, or I kept saying, "Mom, I'm with this guy, and we need to get away from him. I'm really scared." And she's like, "Well, you made your bed, and like she would just hassle, so I'm dealing with her and trying to get her to at least give me bus fare or something so I can get back here where the car was. And I I did file my taxes during that time, like he did, because he wanted money from me. I'm not sure, because he had, when we talked on the phone, he made it seem like he didn't care and it was fine. But then once we got there, he was like he wanted money from me because he needed money. And so, I filed for my taxes, and the lady there, like, she was lovely, and I told her I was afraid I didn't know what to do, and she kept in touch with me until I got back here, and she was worried about us too. She was wonderful, and I got my taxes filed, and then he kept in the evening, like, dropping us off at this McDonald's and taking off for like an hour or two, so we had to sit there and just sit in the cold because you can't sit places very long. And the whole time I'm trying to keep my baby calm, but there was nothing calm about any of it. And then he would get a wild hair and decide he was going to drop me off at social services. And then he starts driving erratically, and he drives to the social services building, but it was a holiday. I don't remember what holiday. It turned out it was closed, but I was scared because I didn't want to be in Camden. I didn't want to be there. I don't know why. I just didn't. And I tried to sell. He just wanted money, so I tried to sell jewelry. I couldn't. None of the jewelry that my mom told me was worth the shit that she gave me was real. Or she lied. Everything. And then finally, like on the third day, she sent a little money so I could get us back here. And I got us somehow on buses and trains. But now my kid is so traumatized by buses and trains. I am too, really. It was horrible. Because And when we got back, my taxes hit, so I got the hotel for another week. That's all. And I applied for everything around there. And it was just like nothing ever worked. From the moment we got here, nothing just worked. And you can tell people over and over, hell, it's right here. You can see it. You can watch it all. And I still believe it. And to have gone through something so goddamn awful, both of us, and to come to a place where you're supposed to be able to heal and have people just, I don't know. So, yeah, Camden, fuck Camden, I'll never go there again. The guy, Bradley, I could kick you in your fucking face for, and I told him about it, he's apologized since then, but he doesn't know the extent of, like, how fucking traumatizing all of that was. And he was just trying to help me out, and I don't blame him. But, since I've been here, I haven't met anyone. Well, one person, and they took her away. Two. Both of them, they took away. But I've only met two people since I've been here that were actually genuine. They were actually who they said they were, or who they appeared to be at first. And, it's unbelievable to me that, I don't know how just not only unsympathetic, but just plain evil some people are. And I haven't talked about that to anybody. Those 3-4, I don't even know how many days. But the feeling of relief when we finally got back here. And we're in the hotel room away from that guy. And that was one of the last times I talked to my mother. Because I could not ever speak to her again. After she did that. After I was begging and pleading with her to help me get away from somebody who I was afraid was going to murder us at some point. You know, I didn't know what the fuck. And I was begging her. But it was typical of her because I told her, what my grandpa had done. And she was like, yeah, but we need a social security tax. So what are you going to do? Well, you know what you're going to do? You're going to stand up for your child. You're not going to allow people to abuse your child for money. And that was something she could never, ever not do because she loved money. She loved money more than she loved anything in this world. I know that for a fact. And she learned, I guess, hopefully by now she's learned that she could not take that with her. And someday all these motherfuckers will too. But it's nice to have. You have to have it in this world. But there are things that are much more important than that. I mean, look at, like, I'm hearing this story about Matthew Perry. These horrendous fucks that took advantage of him. And were sending text messages like that. How much do you think we can get out of this moron? and they took $2,000 of his money for a $12 vial of ketamine. And that's the type of motherfuckers, like, that I've been dealing with for a very, very long time. And they simply, like, did an investigation and looked at all their text messages, and their chats, and found what these people had done. And they murdered him. They did. And I hope that they are, well, I hope justice prevails in that case too. I really wish it would happen in ours. But, after this long, I don't hold my breath. All I know is I'm not ever going to let anybody tell me who the fuck I am and what I deserve ever again. Because none of you know what we live through. And for you to just make fun of anybody in general, like you're a loser, you're a fucking piece of shit. If that's the only way that you get joy, is to tear somebody else down. May you reap what you sow, you piece of shit. But to go to those lengths, like my mom did, like a lot of people in my life have. And I just wish at some point they would realize that it's on them. The fact that I'm sitting here this fucking broke and this fucking broken and this still gonna be homeless after a year and a half of doing everything that I was asked to do, every fucking thing. And that's not on me either. But to still know that in a month I'm gonna have to face that again. After all of this, after all the love bombing and the promises, and I believed a lot of you. I really thought some of you actually cared because you're good fucking actors. But for us to have to, like, my kid, that's my kid. We can't be homeless again. Like I can't. I cannot do it again, and I won't. And I'm gonna take action. I have no other choice. You've pushed me to this point, and you may have gotten away with it in the past, but after what the fuck I've been through, you're not gonna get away with it with me. Because as I relive every single, and I see every single moment, I can't tell you the times, I can't tell you the dates because it's all kind of a blur. But that weekend, it was a week or so, all of that, like that. Every time you fuck with me, I'm gonna remember the details of that week, and no, you fucking won't, because I will never live through that again. I will never have somebody who doesn't give two fucks about me having control over everything, over the purse strings, over whether I can leave, over what I say, what I wear, ever a fucking get. And I certainly won't have somebody like that controlling the narrative about me to others, so they won't help me either. Because that's what my mom did, and that's what you guys are doing. And the fact that you're doing that in this scenario, you should be held accountable. Because if you're going to do this to me, then you would do it to somebody else. And I can't let you do that. Like, it's bad enough it's happening to me, but I refuse to ever watch somebody else go through this knowing what I know. No. And so every time I hear one of you make fun of me, I'm going to think of those moments in my head. I'm going to watch my kid cry. I'm going to relive it. And then I'm going to take it out of your asses. And I'm going to take back everything that's mine. Everything. Because I earned it. I don't give a fuck if you think I have or not. I think I did. I know I did. And I'm taking it back.